There's something strange about being human. You are born into a world that already has rules, already has meaning, already has systems, already has expectations waiting for you before you even learn how to speak. You wake up at certain hours, you work for pieces of paper or numbers on a screen, you stand in lines, you obey traffic lights, you introduce yourself with a name you didn't choose. You spend your life chasing invisible concepts like status, success, productivity, and retirement. And almost nobody stops to ask why. Not because the system is hidden, but because it's everywhere. That's what makes it feel natural. Maybe that's the real Matrix. Not robots, not green code, not a simulation run by machines, but a human-made reality so deeply normalized that we mistake it for objective truth. And the weirdest part is, this version of reality is not permanent. It never was. Nobody starts life from zero. You inherit an entire operating system. Language, morality, religion, money, school, work culture, politics, relationships, the idea of what a successful life even looks like. And because you were born into it, it feels inevitable. But none of this was inevitable. At one point, countries didn't exist. Money didn't exist. Prisons didn't exist. Marriage looked completely different. Democracy barely existed. People solved disputes with violence. Slavery was normalized. Kings were considered chosen by God. Human beings have already lived in completely different matrices before. A medieval peasant would think modern life is insane. You spend your entire day indoors staring at glowing rectangles? You work for corporations instead of land? You trust strangers with your children's education? You eat food from factories? You talk to invisible people through satellites? To them, we look brainwashed. And honestly, they probably have a point. That's the scary thing about social reality. Once people participate in something, it stops feeling invented. Money feels real, borders feel real, work weeks feel real, social status feels real. But most of these things only exist because billions of people collectively agree they exist. A dollar bill is just paper. A company is just a legal idea. A nation is a line humans drew and defended. Even time itself is partially standardized fiction. The 7-day week, weekends, time zones, business hours. Imagine explaining to a primitive human that your entire emotional state can be ruined because an email arrived at 4:52 p.m. on a Tuesday. We are living inside abstractions, and yet we organize our entire lives around them. People talk about society like it's permanent. It's not. Human civilization is basically one long history of rewriting reality. We went from tribes to empires, caves to skyscrapers, hunting animals to factory farming, oral storytelling to infinite digital memory, survival-based living to algorithmic living. At one point, humans believed monarchy was natural. Now many people see it as absurd. At one point, public executions were entertainment. Now they horrify us. At one point, people thought that women shouldn't vote. At one point, people thought slavery was economically necessary. At one point, people believed left-handed people were spiritually corrupted. Every era thinks it's rational. Every era thinks it finally understands the world. Every era eventually becomes embarrassing. This is the uncomfortable part. Right now, you are living inside beliefs future humans may see as barbaric. Maybe factory farming becomes viewed the same way we view blood sports. Maybe the 40-hour workweek becomes seen as psychological warfare. Maybe future people will think it was insane that humans spent most of their lives doing repetitive labor just to afford shelter. Maybe loneliness will be treated like a civilization-level crisis. Maybe future generations will look at modern cities and ask, why did humans build environments where nobody knew their neighbors? Or maybe they'll look at us the same way we look at ancient humans and think, they had technology beyond imagination and still made themselves miserable. That possibility should unsettle you, because it means we're not standing at the end of history. We are just another phase. Here's the real twist. The Matrix isn't controlled by a secret room of evil people. It runs because ordinary people keep performing it. Every day. People obey norms, defend systems, mock outsiders, repeat routines, teach the next generation the same expectations. The Matrix reproduces itself through participation. Most people don't even consciously choose the life they live. They inherit momentum. Go to school, get credentials, get a job, pay bills, consume entertainment, repeat. And look, some of this is necessary. Civilization requires structure, but when nobody questions the structure anymore, society stops being a tool and starts becoming a script. That's when people stop living consciously. They start autoplaying existence. The strangest part about human beings is how adaptable we are. If enough people agree on something long enough, it becomes reality. You could create a society where eating meat is viewed as horrifying. Working only 3 days a week is normal. Money barely exists. Marriage disappears. Virtual life matters more than physical life. Artificial intelligence replaces most labor. Privacy no longer exists. Sleep schedules become chemically optimized. Children learn from machines instead of teachers. And eventually, people born into that world would defend it the same way people defend this world. That's the part nobody wants to admit. Most people don't defend reality, they defend familiarity. You could flip the entire structure upside down, wait 2 generations, and people would call it common sense. Up becomes down, red becomes green, and the Matrix updates itself. I don't think escaping the Matrix means running into the woods. You can't fully escape human systems. Even rebellion becomes a system eventually. But maybe freedom starts when you realize the game is a game. When you realize society is constructed, norms are negotiable, culture mutates, morality evolves, history keeps moving, and normal is one of the most temporary things humans ever invented. Because once you see that, you stop treating the current version of reality like it was handed down by the universe itself. The Matrix is not a machine. It's accumulated human behavior. It's billions of people repeating inherited patterns until those patterns feel permanent. But history proves they aren't permanent. Human beings already changed the Matrix countless times before, which means this world, the way of living, the structure we take for granted, is not the final version. And maybe that's exciting, or maybe it's terrifying, because if humanity can redesign reality once, then eventually it will do it again. And one day, people in the future may look back at us the same way we look back at ancient civilizations, confused, disturbed, curious, wondering how we ever believed this was normal. And if that's true, then maybe the real Matrix was never hidden from us at all. Maybe we were simply born inside it.